Student ID? I have no idea where I dropped it. Lena Tan began to panic, speaking to her. Seeing the horde of zombies drawing closer, Kira Lam didn't hesitate any longer. She grabbed the rescue axe and swung it straight at the scanner. Crash. The machine was instantly destroyed. The two ran into the media building, quickly shutting the door behind them before rushing towards the vending machine. The vending machine had long been out of power, and Kira Lam swung the axe down with no hesitation. Glass shattered and fell all over the floor. Outside, the zombies heard the noise and swarmed towards the building, pressing against the glass door. Their howls echoed inside, sounding terrifying enough to give one goosebumps. The zombies pushed and shoved, trying to get in, causing the glass door to shake violently, as if it could shatter at any moment. Hurry and grab the supplies, Kira Lam urged. Both Kira Lam and Lena Tan didn't say much more, diving in to grab all the snacks and drinks they could carry, stuffing them tightly into their backpacks. Once both had filled their bags to the brim and couldn't carry any more due to the weight, Kira Lam turned back to look at the glass door that was about to break. We need to go now. The glass can't hold much longer, Kira Lam urged. Lena Tan slung her backpack on and hurried up to the second floor. Kira Lam watched Lena Tan's figure disappear before quickly gathering the remaining items into her own space before the zombies broke through the door. Crash. A loud noise rang out as the glass shattered, and several zombies rushed in like a tidal wave. Kira Lam quickly caught up with Lena Tan, and the two climbed straight up to the third floor of the building. This is the recording studio. It has good soundproofing. Kira Lam pointed to a nearby studio. Hearing this, Lena Tan dashed into the studio, and they locked the door before finding tables and chairs to barricade it. Once everything was somewhat stable, the two began rummaging through their backpacks for food, but all they found were snacks, nothing that could fill their stomachs like instant noodles. This is terrible. If we had been any slower, we would have been torn apart by zombies, Lena Tan said, still in shock. The two leaned against each other. It wasn't until they heard the sounds outside gradually quiet down that they finally breathed a sigh of relief. Kira Lam pointed inside the studio, and they both went in, closing the glass door behind them. Setting the rescue axe down, Kira Lam looked at her bulging backpack, finally able to eat something. She removed the cloth covering her mouth and took a deep breath. Potato chips, shrimp crackers, chocolate, enough energy, but not filling at all. The two ate quite a bit, with wrappers strewn all over the floor. Kira Lam downed a bottle of water and finally felt better. After they were somewhat full, the two sat back in the studio chairs. A foul odor suddenly filled Kira Lam's nose, making her grimace. It was the smell of her clothes stained with zombie blood. She had been too tense and hungry before to notice this. Not just Kira Lam, but Lena Tan felt the same. I can't stand this smell any longer. I used to change clothes every day, and now it's been 10 days without a change, Lena Tan grimaced, saying. I remember there's a dressing room on the third floor. There must be clean clothes there, she suggested. Kira Lam frowned. Not only Lena Tan, but she also hadn't changed clothes in 7 or 8 days. She had been too focused on finding food and water, not thinking about changing clothes. I can't stand this smell any longer. I used to change clothes every day, and now it's been 10 days without a change, Lena Tan grimaced, saying. I remember there's a dressing room on the third floor. There must be clean clothes there, she suggested. Wearing clothes for too long was incredibly unpleasant, so the two girls quickly made a decision. Especially Kira Lam. Her shirt looked so tattered it resembled that of a beggar. The back of her shirt was even torn enough to expose her underwear. Fortunately, there were no survivors left, only a horde of zombies that could only howl. At this point, just surviving each day was already a blessing. Kira Lam truly had no energy to care about anything else. The third floor was a large auditorium, a place for student activities or art competitions between departments. It had a fairly spacious area, capable of holding nearly 7,000 people. After resting for a moment, Kira Lam and Lena Tan they pressed their bodies against the door crack, peering outside. They heard no growls from zombies, nor any footsteps. No zombies, Lena Tan said, relieved. She slowly opened the door, while Kira Lam gripped the rescue axe tightly. If zombies charged in, she would strike immediately. Fortunately, the hallway was silent. Suddenly, a piercing growl from a zombie echoed. Both Kira Lam and Lena Tan immediately became alert, straining to listen to the continuous growls. Kira Lam quickly raised the axe and swung it straight at its head. Black blood splattered everywhere, staining the. She continued to chop at the zombie several more times. At this moment, Kira Lam felt much calmer. Indeed, every beginning is difficult. Now, chopping zombies was no longer unpleasant for Kira Lam. It even brought an oddly satisfying feeling. Holding the rescue axe tightly, A flurry of thoughts swirled in her mind when a crystal emitting a clear light appeared right in front of her. Kira Lamb was overjoyed. This type of crystal would definitely be useful. Ignoring the disgusting feeling from the blood and brains of the zombie, she picked it up with her bare hands. The crystal was blue. Kira Lamb quickly stored it in her space and hurried to the sink to clean herself. Fortunately, even though the power was out, the water had not been cut off. She washed her hands thoroughly several times, then washed her arms and face. Kira Lamb sighed, feeling much more comfortable. Taking advantage of Lena Tan's absence, she quickly focused her consciousness and entered her space. Inside, there were now 2 blue crystals, and the yellow crystal had turned to soil after being placed in the space. She tried dropping 1 blue crystal into the space, but noticed no significant changes. Kira Lamb curiously picked up the blue crystal and squeezed it. To her surprise, the crystal was not as hard as she had thought. It immediately shattered in her hand. No way! Kira Lamb was stunned. She had worked hard to find 2 blue crystals, and now she had accidentally broken one. From the shattered crystal, a small stream of water about the size of a palm suddenly formed and fell into the space. Kira Lamb observed the small stream, feeling a surge of joy. Without hesitation, she continued to crush the remaining blue crystal. The pure blue from the crystal mixed with the initial stream of water, forming a small water pocket in the space. She reached out to touch the pocket, confirming that it was indeed water. I wonder if it's drinkable? Maybe I'll find someone to test it later. Xia Qi. Hearing Lena Tan's voice, Kira Lamb's consciousness immediately left the space. I'm here. You scared me to death. You took so long to come back. I thought something happened. Lena Tan said in a worried tone. Now Lena Tan had changed into a clean outfit. Seeing Kira Lamb's clean, fair face, she rushed to the nearby faucet to wash her face. She couldn't even remember the last time she had a proper wash. When she looked up at the mirror, Lena Tan suddenly screamed, "Watch out behind you. A zombie." I know. I've already dealt with it. Kira Lamb replied calmly. Hearing this, Lena Tan sighed in relief and asked, "You weren't bitten, were you?" She carefully examined Kira Lamb's body, seeing no wounds, which made her feel more at ease. If bitten by a zombie, we will turn into that zombie. We must be very careful. Kira Lamb nodded, still thinking about the water hole in the space. I wonder if that water is drinkable? If I drink it, will I turn into a zombie? And what about the yellow crystal that has turned to dirt in the space? What use will that dirt have? Carmen, hurry up and change your clothes. There are plenty of clean clothes in the changing room. Okay. The 2 of them entered the changing room. There were all kinds of outfits, from hanfu to ballet costumes. Although they were beautiful, they were not practical in this situation. Carmen, wear this one. It's more comfortable. Lena Tan found a tight-fitting yoga outfit and a pair of shorts. Additionally, she found a white jacket lying on a chair, probably left behind by someone before the apocalypse. Kira Lamb glanced at the remaining outfits, most of which were dresses or formal wear. There was no way she could wear a dress to fight zombies. In the end, she chose the fitted outfit and added a jacket, looking both neat and comfortable. The changing room even had yoga gear, as there was a small room behind it dedicated to yoga practice. Kira Lamb took off her tattered and dirty clothes and put on the clean outfit she had just chosen. The tight yoga clothes accentuated her figure, making her curves more pronounced. Lena Tan's face suddenly turned pale. Lena Tan, what's wrong? Kira Lamb frowned and asked, I think I'm on my period. Lena Tan grimaced. At that moment, her stomach was cramping painfully. Kira Lamb thought to herself, I probably won't have my period for the next 10 months, right? Kira Lamb found a clean piece of white cloth nearby and tore it into smaller pieces. Here, use this for now. There are no sanitary pads. Kira Lamb said. Lena Tan looked at Kira Lamb holding the piece of cloth and sighed in resignation. There really was no better option at the moment. After Lena Tan finished changing and cleaning up, her stomach still hurt a lot. She couldn't hold it in any longer and sat down on the floor. There was no way she could go back to the dormitory. That was the place with the most zombies. The second most dangerous place was the canteen in the west. How about we head north? Even though it might be dangerous, we're all classmates, so they should help us. Lena Tan expressed her faint hope. Kira Lamb shook her head. The group of physical education students there were all male. She had heard that these guys had superior physiques and strong abilities, dominating the entire supermarket. 2 weak girls like them going there might get help if they were lucky, but what if they weren't? What if they encountered a situation like Daniel Zhao's group? What would they do then? Didn't you say there was a small supermarket near the building in front of us? I'll go check it out. Kira Lamb didn't want to go north. She didn't want to face dangerous situations caused by her own kind anymore. Previously, she always thought Daniel Zhao was trustworthy, but his recent behavior had left her extremely disappointed. She couldn't blame the group of physical education students. If they maintained their morals during the apocalypse, it would be like a fish on a chopping block waiting for someone to decide its fate. It's the Wuhan supermarket. They sell daily necessities. It's located in the delivery goods collection area, Lena Tan said. Kira Lam knew the delivery goods collection area and had passed by it before, but she hadn't paid attention to the small supermarket inside. Whenever new goods arrived, Kira Lam would ask someone to help her collect them. How about you go to the recording studio and wait for me there? Kira Lam suggested. Lena Tan said. This building was too large and they didn't know how many zombies were inside. Going to the recording studio might be a bit safer. At least it could provide some sound insulation. Lena Tan nodded and slowly stood up. Her lips were pale. The two of them tried to make no noise as they quietly made their way to the recording studio. Carmen Ha, leave your stuff behind and just take the backpack. It will be lighter and more convenient. I'll wait for you here. Lena Tan looked at Kira Lam's heavy backpack. Kira Lam just glanced at Lena Tan and didn't say anything more. She still had plenty of supplies in her space, so she wasn't too concerned about the items in her backpack. To avoid suspicion, Kira Lam took everything out of her backpack. Carmen Ha, you must pay attention to your safety. You can't get into any trouble. Otherwise, I'll be left all alone. Remember to come back before dark. Lena Tan tried to endure the stomach pain as she spoke. I know. Kira Lam gripped the emergency axe tightly and slowly stepped outside. She had thought about running away, but where could she escape to? Although she didn't like Lena Tan and even felt that Lena Tan's issues with Daniel Zhao affected her, at this moment, besides Lena Tan, there were only zombies and other strong individuals. It would be easier for the two of them to cooperate than for her to face everything alone. Unless she was strong enough to survive on her own in this world. Surviving alone in the apocalypse was too difficult. Not only was Kira Lam worried, but Lena Tan was also scared. She feared that Kira Lam wouldn't be able to return. She had had enough of hiding alone in a corner, listening to the screams of zombies every day. This had tortured her mentally and made her even more fearful. Kira Lam, with her useless backpack on her back and the emergency axe in hand, moved the furniture that was blocking the door aside. Carmen Ha, take this knife with you, Lena Tan said. Lena Tan said. Kira Lam nodded, strapped the knife to her back, and gently said, I'm off. Kira Lam took a deep breath and carefully opened the door. The hallway was clear of zombies, which relieved her. As she stepped down to the second floor and approached the stairs to the first floor, she heard the growls of zombies. Perhaps when she and Lena Tan entered here earlier, quite a few zombies had come in through the broken glass door. There were about 10 zombies and Kira Lam slowly backed away. She couldn't handle all of them at once. If she was thrown into the midst of 10 zombies, she would definitely be torn to pieces. The second floor had a lounge, a library, and a small movie theater. Kira Lam looked down the hallway and saw a glass window at the end that was still open. She walked lightly, trying not to make any noise. Peering through the glass window, she saw that there were no zombies outside, just 1 or 2 in the distance. The second floor was quite high, and with her pregnant belly, she couldn't jump down immediately. If it were before, she could at least grab the railing and flip down. If she ran down from here, she would pass right in front of the zombies, which was not an option. Unless she wanted to be chased by them. Kira Lam saw an air conditioning unit outside and had the idea of climbing out the second floor window and landing on the unit. That shouldn't be too difficult. With that thought, Kira Lam headed toward the library. Each room had air conditioning, but the movie theater had no windows, so she could only enter the lounge or the library. The library window was open, and there was an air conditioning unit outside. Jumping down from here would be fine, but there were 3 zombies lingering nearby. If there were only one, Kira Lam could jump down and quickly kill it, but 3 were too dangerous, and she hesitated slightly. Suddenly, Kira Lam thought of the hallway next to the restroom. Although the window there didn't have an air conditioning unit, there was a large drainage pipe. That was the drainage system from the upper floors. Kira Lam calculated that if she could climb the pipe, she could slide down. She suddenly felt immensely grateful to her dear brother. When she was young, Kira Lam didn't like Tai Chi or any martial arts. She just wanted to learn to draw, design, and get into college. But could drawing kill zombies? Of course not. Because Liam Tanner had only Kira Lam as a sister and no other relatives, he worried that his beloved sister would be bullied, so he often encouraged her to train her body and cultivate martial arts. Not only did she learn Tai Chi, but she also learned martial arts, archery, and more. Kira Lam had resisted for a while, but it was of no use. She knew her brother did this for her own good, so she tried her best to practice to make him happy. Now, Kira Lam truly doubts whether her precious brother has been reincarnated, or perhaps he possesses prophetic abilities, foreseeing the impending apocalypse? In reality, Liam Tanner simply did not want his sister to be bullied. Now, Liam Tanner is certain that his sister is still alive. He rushed from City S to City B because he knows better than anyone that Kira Lamb can protect herself, at least to some extent. Thus, Liam Tanner asked Nina Knox to go rescue Kira Lamb. Kira Lamb couldn't slide down while still holding the rescue axe, so she put it into her space. She looked down from the bathroom window and, fortunately, there was only one zombie below. She began to calculate the distance. Kira Lamb slid down quickly, taking only a few seconds. The zombie below was about 10 steps away from her. She had to quickly adjust her position. Otherwise, it would be easy for the zombie to bite her. Kira Lamb regulated her breathing to be as quiet as possible, trying not to alert the zombie below. She slowly made her way along the pipe, sliding down. However, she still had the knife hanging behind her. At that moment, the knife fell to the ground. 3 loud clangs echoed. The jarring sound attracted the zombie's attention, and it limped toward Kira Lamb. Kira Lamb tensed up, hastily shifting her body, but the zombie was too close. Kira Lamb could only pull the rescue axe from her space. This zombie seemed stronger than the others, its strength appearing to be double. Kira Lamb wielded the rescue axe and thrust it at the zombie, but its power was overwhelming. It knocked Kira Lamb away, causing her to crash hard against the air conditioning unit outside the window. Kira Lamb no longer had the mood to care about the pain in her back. This zombie was far too powerful. The stench from the zombie's mouth hit Kira Lamb's face, making her feel nauseous. She couldn't continue to struggle like this. The noise would attract other zombies. In a moment of desperation, Kira Lamb recklessly slammed her head against the zombies. Fortunately, this zombie was a girl, and she was even smaller than Kira Lamb. It hurt like hell. How could this zombie's head be so hard? Kira Lamb didn't have time to think too much. Seizing the moment when the zombie staggered back, she immediately turned around. But the zombie was still a step faster. Slash. Fresh blood splattered out. Damn it. Kira Lamb looked at her arm, which had been scratched by the zombie's claws. Was she going to turn into a zombie? No way. She didn't want to become something so disgusting. In a fit of rage, Kira Lamb suddenly unleashed 200% of her strength, swinging the rescue axe straight at the zombie's head. Originally, she intended to smash the zombie's head to find the crystal, but looking at her bleeding arm, her heart turned cold as ashes. Grow, grow, grow. Kira Lamb held the rescue axe, seriously considering whether she should risk her life against the zombie right before turning into one of them. Suddenly, she saw a horde of grotesque zombies rushing over, with bits of flesh dangling from their mouths. Kira Lamb's face paled, and she immediately turned to run. No way. Kira Lamb would rather turn into a zombie than become the scraps in their mouths. That would be too tragic. If she couldn't fight them off, she might as well join them. That's just common sense. But right now, she had no way to speed up her transformation into a zombie, so she could only run first and think later. Kira Lamb ran straight to the delivery area, where 2 or 3 more zombies were waiting at the entrance, perhaps sensing that she was about to become one of them. Kira Lamb put all her strength into attacking the zombies, first taking down 2 with one swing, then 1 at a time. Zombie blood splattered everywhere, covering Kira Lamb's face. She had just changed into clean clothes not long ago, and now she was drenched in dark blood again. Kira Lamb immediately dashed into a small supermarket, locked the door, and then chopped through the lock with one swing. Her arm was still aching, but Kira Lamb couldn't stop. She leaned against the door, panting. After resting for a moment, Kira Lamb sat on the ground and looked at her arm. The bleeding had stopped, but the wound had turned from red to black. Was she going to turn into a zombie? Time passed second by second as Kira Lamb leaned against the door. Thinking about her impending transformation into a zombie, her eyes turned red. I'm really sorry, Kira Lamb whispered in her heart. But 2 hours had passed, and she still hadn't turned into a zombie. A glimmer of light began to appear in her empty eyes. Finally, Kira Lamb reacted. No, this wasn't right. She had seen people bitten by zombies, even scratched. Yet all of them had turned into zombies within half an hour, and some had transformed in just over 10 minutes. Although Kira Lamb had only been scratched on the arm, she shouldn't be able to hold out for more than half an hour. Yet here she was, 2 hours later, and still fine. Could it be because she had activated a special ability, or did she have a unique constitution? She rushed into the small supermarket and looked at herself in the mirror. She touched her face again. Her skin was still as smooth as before. In the mirror, aside from a few blood stains, she looked unchanged. Her eyes weren't bulging, and her teeth hadn't elongated. Phew. Although she didn't know the reason, she was surprised that she hadn't turned into a zombie. She still wasn't sure if she was not mutating or just hadn't started to mutate yet. Perhaps in another 2 hours, she would mutate. Everything was uncertain. Now that she had regained her composure, Kira Lamb felt the wound still throbbing. Luckily, she had taken some bandages and iodine from the medical room earlier. Kira Lamb grabbed tweezers to clean the wound. The wound was a normal red color, and her heart suddenly raced. No changes. Could it be that the amount of virus from that zombie was too little? But Kira Lamb remembered that the strength of that zombie was greater than others. It didn't resemble an ordinary zombie at all. Kira Lamb couldn't figure it out. So, she decided to stop thinking about it. She should cherish this moment. Kira Lamb quickly bandaged her wound, determined to protect herself from infection. Now that she was pregnant, she couldn't take antibiotics. A gnawing hunger hit Kira Lamb's brain. Then her stomach growled. So hungry, so hungry. Kira Lamb couldn't care too much about that anymore. She looked at the items in the supermarket and began to eat ravenously. Before long, the ground was littered with wrappers from various foods. After eating for a long while, she felt less hungry, but she still wasn't full. She couldn't believe she wasn't full yet. Kira Lamb looked at the pile of empty wrappers on the ground. They were all from the things she had just eaten. 5 boxes of Oreo cookies, 3 cartons of milk, 7 sausages, 8 salted eggs, 5 chocolate bread rolls, and 8 bags of potato chips. Kira Lamb doubted her life choices. Had she really eaten that much? Moreover, how could she still not be full after eating so much? Did all pregnant women eat this much? She wouldn't gain weight. Would she? Although she desperately wanted to control herself, she would be hungry. Kira Lamb ate 2 more pieces of chocolate, realizing that chocolate provided a high calorie count, making her feel a bit better. She had eaten quite a bit, but still didn't feel quite right. Could it be that just being pregnant turned her into such a glutton? And, in this apocalyptic world too? Kira Lamb stuffed all the leftover items from the supermarket into her space, nearly filling that small space to the brim. After thinking for a moment, she stuffed a bit more into her backpack, then grabbed a few rolls of tissue and sanitary pads to add to the backpack. Although Kira Lamb wasn't short on money, the feeling of taking things without paying still made her feel incredibly happy. Next to her was the delivery room, stacked with items in layers. Kira Lamb checked the time and saw it was still early. It was only noon. Now that she was injured, she didn't dare to go back immediately, so she decided to isolate herself for a day. What Kira Lamb was most worried about was the child in her womb. She didn't know if she could keep the baby. After all, she had been scratched. Who knew if the baby would be infected too? Overthinking wouldn't help. So Kira Lamb looked at the room filled with boxes of express deliveries. She decided to open them to see if there was anything useful inside, and there was a small knife specifically for opening boxes. Inside the large boxes were clothes and shoes, and finally, Kira Lamb found a suitable outfit. Denim shorts, a white t-shirt, and a pair of Adidas shoes. Kira Lamb found a suitable outfit. Denim shorts, a white t-shirt, and a pair of Adidas shoes. Unfortunately, the shoes were half a size too big. She continued to open boxes that looked like shoe boxes, most of which contained high heels. Kira Lamb loved the feeling of unboxing, and this time, she truly got to indulge. There were all kinds of cosmetics and skincare products. Kira Lamb didn't need too many cosmetics, just took some sunscreen and stored it in her space. She also found a few outfits that fit well. Now, aside from a small puddle the size of a palm and a small patch of land the size of a finger, Kira Lamb's space was nearly full. Even if Kira Lamb wanted to take something, it would take her a while to find it. But this didn't dampen her excitement about unboxing. Kira Lamb tossed the refrigerator from her space outside. It was useless to keep it there now. This gave her quite a bit more room. Kira Lamb had been unboxing for over 2 hours, but there were still many large boxes untouched. She felt they were bulky and was too lazy to open them. After unboxing all the boxes, the ground was full. Yet she didn't feel tired. In fact, the more she unboxed, the hungrier she felt. In one package, there was even a box of ready-to-eat nuts. These items can also be stored, but for now, she still doesn't know if her space can preserve them. Because right now, there are no fruits or vegetables for Kira Lamb to try storing in her space. Kira Lamb continued to unpack a few more boxes. She looked at the pile of packages, still quite a lot left, thinking that perhaps she wouldn't be able to finish unpacking today. Then, she proceeded to open a few more food packages, which included nutritional powdered milk and honey. Kira Lamb stored all of them in her space. She looked up outside. It was getting close to dusk. The clock showed 6 o'clock. Although it was summer, it wouldn't be fully dark until around 8. Kira Lamb had been here for nearly 8 hours. Throughout those 8 hours, she didn't feel uncomfortable. On the contrary, she felt more alert. She checked her wound. There were no signs of bruising, but a glance was enough to tell it was a scratch from a zombie. She wondered if it would leave a scar later. Perhaps she would need to find some scar treatment if the opportunity arose. Kira Lamb wrapped her wound with a bandage and then took out a pair of sun protective gloves to cover her hands. After covering her arms, she felt more comfortable. She put on her backpack, grabbed the rescue axe, and then looked at the zombie's head on the ground. She thought for a moment and then swung the axe to split its head in two. The first zombie's head had nothing in it, but in the second one, she found a blue crystal. It looked like a blue glass marble. Kira Lamb immediately stored it in her space. The blue crystal blended into the small water hole in her space, causing the hole to expand a little. She looked at this puddle. The water was clear and green. She wondered if it was drinkable. Would drinking it turn her into a zombie, or did it have some other effect? Kira Lamb pondered silently.